Hebrew. And the New Testament was written in what? What language we speak? English. So we are way off, right? So to get the essence of that word, we have to resort to the Hebrew. Now, please read now. So now that word determined.
The word determined comes from the Hebrew word shatak,
All right.
which means marked out or cut off or to cut.
So that word determined means marked out, cut off, or to cut. This means, please read now that though.
70 weeks or 490-year prophecy is marked out, marked off, or cut out from a larger time span or prophecy.
In other words, so we have to find a prophecy long enough for us to cut off 490. Are you with me? Because you can't cut off 490 from 480. You've gone in the negative, like some of our bank accounts at times, right? In the red. You get an alert. 490. Please read now. The what?
The only time span large enough for anything to be cut off from is the one mentioned in Daniel 8:14, the 2300-day-year prophecy.
All right. Remember, man invented chapters. So Daniel 8 and 9 is a continuation, Brother Foot, of Daniel 8. So the only prophecy long enough for God to cut off 490 years from is the one found in Daniel 8:14 until 2000. Then shall the what? All right, please read now. Therefore, the 490.
490 years cannot be cut or determined from 2300 literal days.
You see that? So if you do not apply the date to your prophecy to Daniel 8:14 and you apply it to Daniel 9:24, you are confused. We must adhere to the same law principle. If you apply the date to your principle to Daniel 8:14, you must apply it to Daniel 9:24. Please read now. Why?
Which adds up to less than 7 years. Therefore, the 2300 must stand for years, not days.
Now, let me give you some from the Heavenly Corner. The Great Conversation. Please read now. The word.
The word here translated determined literally signifies cut off. 70 weeks representing 490 years are declared by the angel to be cut off. But from what were they cut off? As the 2300 days was the only period of time mentioned in chapter 8, it must be the period from which the 70 weeks are cut off.
All right.
The 70 weeks must therefore be a part of the 2300 days, and the two periods must begin together.
At the same time. We're showing the work this morning. All right, please read now the 70 weeks.
The 70 weeks were declared by the angel to date from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem. If the date of this commandment could be found, then the starting point for the great period of the 2300 days would be ascertained.
All right, a close relation?
A close relationship exists between the 70 times 7 and the 2300. For the 490 are cut off from the 2300. The time to begin counting the two periods, the 490 and the 2300, must be the same,
all right,
which is 457 BC. The shorter is cut off from the longer one. Both of these periods begin at the same time.
Are we all clear? So here we see now, 457 BC is the starting date for the 2,200-year prophecy. God decided to subtract, to cut off 70 weeks or 490 years. Now, question number 4 now. Which nation did God allot the 490 years to? Bear in mind, in the ancient world, there were only two classes of people, and they weren't black or white, rich or poor, immigrant or naturalized. Either you were a Jew or a Gentile, and then the Gentiles, they were called heathens. There were no other nationality, and by the way, it's the same today, friends. There are only two classes of people that heaven recognizes, those who are right and those who are wrong. Those who are characterized by light and those who are characterized by darkness. Those who are sheep and those who are goats. Those who are wise and those who are otherwise. Degrees has nothing to do with it. Neither skin color or accent or your hair complexion. That does not even come in the scale of God's equation. And as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And if you're not right, and brother, you are dead wrong. And you can rationalize all you want. Now, so which nation did God allot this time to? Was it to the Gentiles or to his people? The text says it now. We're not guessing this morning. It's too late to be guessing. Daniel 9:24 says now, 70 weeks are determined or cut off, chop off upon thy people and upon thy what? Holy city. So this 490 years was allotted to the Jewish nation. Thy people, my city. Are you with me? Now, friends, we're building. We want to show work this morning because we believe that something wonderful happened in the heavens October 22nd, 1844. And the key to it is in this text. Please read now, 490 years.
490 years were to be allocated to the Jewish nation as their final probationary time, as God's favored messengers of his grace.
All right.
The 490 years was to be cut off from the larger prophecy as their final opportunity to prove themselves acceptable as God's denominated people to carry the good news about Jesus to the entire world.
All right.
As we know, they failed in that task. And so the work of leading out in the mission was given to others, men and women who would believe it, live it, and share it no matter what their ancestry might be.
All right, now we're told the 490?
490 years were to be allocated to the Jewish nation as their final probationary time as God's favored messengers of his grace.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
All right, okay, all right. Sometimes, all these words. All right, so we got the picture now. All right, it is the same thing. All right, now. So here we see now. Again, friends, we are repeating and we want to rivet this in your cerebral. This is the large time prophecy right here. 2,300 days. We know it began 457 BC. BC, you're counting down, AD gets up. But within that time prophecy, Daniel speaks of another, a 70 week or a 490. Now, this was given to the Jewish nation. We know that the 490 and the 2020 day began at the same time, 457 BC. But what we do not know yet is when it ends. We don't know when because it wasn't stated in the text yet. We know when it started. Now, looking back, we know, or we should know, right? We know when it ends, but from Daniel's perspective, he didn't really know when the larger time prophecy ended or when the shorter one. But once he had a starting point, he could work his way through. You know, in life, some people, they just want to start. That's all they want, friends. And I've learned this in Jamaica. You know, we go down and we tend to sympathize with the poverty. And, you know, if you're not careful, you will let this consume you. And I read somewhere that we can give to the poor and harm them. Did you hear what I just said? That's the ministry of healing. We can give to the poor and we can hurt them and harm them, we're told. We're told, teach them to help themselves, because the poor you'll have with you always. How can we give them a starting point? Are you with me? And so once we find the starting point of the prophecy, then we're just going to do the math and add up. Now, so here we see now that God again gave the Jewish people 490 years. That's a lot of time. If you subtract 490 from 2,300 days, what is the remainder? 1810. So think now, if God gave 490 to the Jews, the 1810, who did he give it to? The Gentiles. And you know why he gave the Gentiles? Because they had a whole lot to unlearn and a whole heap to learn. The slowest kid in the class, that the teacher is patient with him. Isn't that right? Patient. We have after school learning, Nathan, because the boy is slow. So God expects, you see, the Jews had a dietary plan that should have kept their mind sharp. The Gentiles were eating possum and pig, shrimp and lobster. If you can catch it, you can eat it. And that weighed down the mind. But the Jews were sharp. So God gave them less time to do a great work. And he gave more time to the Gentiles, which is us, because we are slow. You know how we are slow? Because some of us, we still haven't made a move towards Jesus. And we are struggling to the grave. And let me tell you something. See, I live in a real world. And I try to be a realist. And let me tell you something. In America, if you are in your 60s and you haven't gotten it yet, then you need to wake up and smell the coffee. Start facing reality. Just give thanks for what you got and keep on working. Face reality. So you see, God gave them 1,810 years to the Gentiles. Now watch this now. Watch this now, saying no. However, the 490 or the 70-week prophecy also speaks of something wonderful. Of God's great mercies and his long suffering towards the sinner, brothers and sisters. The 490 introduced a word that we hear within the Adventist circle or even in the judicial circle, probation. A boy gets in trouble. He goes before the court. The court says if he's a first-time offender, the judge will say, I'm going to put you on probation. What does the judge mean by that? I'm giving you a time to see if you can walk straight. And if you violate, you're in problem. And when you're on probationary time, you don't even have time. Some are so stringent, they put an antimonnicle on you. You have to go to work. And if you are a religious person, to church. But they don't give you time to hang out. And being on probation is worse than being in jail. Some rather, you know what? I'd rather get locked up and do my time and come out free. But on probation, man, it's like you can't even, they're not used to that shackle. And that's why so many violate. I'm telling you, they'd rather do the time, Sister Foot, and come out free than to have to report to your probation officer. You have to take drug tests. If you want to leave the city, you got to get your documents. That's why so many violate. So God gave the Jews 490 years of probation. Friends, all of us, in a sense, have been given a 490. You and I are on probationary time right now. The Bible says the average lifespan of a man, based on Psalms 90 verse 10. The days of our years are 70. That's 70. And if underscore by the reason of strength, you make it to 80, that is 80. But then you're cut off. And the average American, he's not even making it to 80. People are dying now. Listen, when I was growing up, I'll be honest with you, only old folks died. Every funeral committee was who dead? Old Mass Jack, old Miss Sue, old Miss Matty. It was pure old people. Today, it's who dead? My grandson. Your grandson dead. You see, friends? But this is the lifespan of man. And friends, this is our probationary time. And the whole object of giving us 80 years is to develop a character like Christ. A character. But it also shows that God is long-suffering. God is his forbearance. That's the word, the forbearance of God. You know, we're told in Great Controversy, not in your handout. I've always wondered, how much time did God give Lucifer? You wonder, like, why is it that even if you repented now, it's too late? Like, why can't you say, okay, you know, God, okay, you said you forgive iniquity, you forgive transgression, you forgive, why can't you just forgive Lucifer, and if he says he's sorry, and we'll call it a day? Because his probation ran out. And let me tell you something. God's justice is as stern as his love. In other words, his love is long suffering. But when he turns, there's no man alive. Not even himself can turn. That's how, this is almost like a mind-blowing thing. We are told in Great Controversy, this is so powerful. You can write it down. Great Controversy, page 496, about Lucifer. We are told. She says this now. God, in his underscore, the adjective, great mercy, bore, B-O-R-E, long with Lucifer. And this is not in time, this is in eternity. He bore long, listen, and just think, look how long God has borne with us. We are told he was not immediately degraded from his exalted station when he first indulged in the spirit of discontent, nor even when he began to present his false claims before the loyal angels. Long was he retained in heaven. I mean, can you imagine if God gave the Jews 490, man, and he gave us 1810 years? Then come on, could you imagine how long he bore with Lucifer? Friends, we are on probationary time. This world is on probationary time. Now let me give you some mental simulation, not in your handout now. Now, God dwells in eternity. He dwells in eternity. He is eternal. Now, because of sin, which is the breaking of God's law, because of the sin problem, what God did now, God broke off a piece of eternity and gave it to us, and we call it time. Time is first cousin to eternity. Yeah. The purpose of time is to bring us back to eternity. And one of these days, time is going to have a clash with eternity, and eternity will win. Are you with me? Now, so God is in eternity. Because of sin, he broke off of this time and gave it to us, and we call it time. Now, how much time has God given the human race? The massive time is 7,000 years. 7,000. Now, friends, we believe in this. I want to show you. Because God, remember, how many days are in the week? You sure? How much has God given to mankind? How much he takes for himself? Isn't that good, man? And you know the one day God gave us, we struggle with it? And what if God had said, thou shalt keep my Sabbath 24 hours awake? Thou shalt not sleep on my Sabbath. So from sunset, Friday, thou must be up. If thou sleepest, thou breakest my Sabbath, and thou shalt surely die. You talk about caffeine, boy, we'll be up. Friends, we are asleep most of the Sabbath. And the little time we're awake, we struggle. You know, God could have said, you know what, fine. 6 days thou shalt keep my Sabbath. And one for you. Then you'd have a problem. And the one day that God asks for himself, we don't want to give it to him. Huh? But that's neither here nor there. So, as in the weekly cycle, God takes 6 for himself. No, he takes 1 for himself and gives us 6. Now, in the wider scale of eternity now, let's bring this to eternity now. God has taken 1,000 years for himself. Millennium, and he has given mankind 6,000 years. As a church, we teach that the earth is only 6,000 years. I was watching Al Jazeera, man, and they had this new telescope that was, you know, and I'm kind of a stargazer kind of a guy. I like that, you know, the cosmos. And I was intrigued that this new telescope is able to, it found several new galaxies. And they had all these signs. And I was eating a mango, man, I had to really just put them out because it pulled me in. And it's like the further man go in space, the more infidelish they become. One man had to say because he saw a star that was 4 trillion years old. I'm like, no, we're not. That's not where we are. They were talking about the earth are millions and billions. No, that's not the creation concept. We believe that the earth is only 6,000 years old, brothers and sisters. That's the creation, and I can prove it. And I'm going to prove it one of these days. We're going to do some genealogy. Remember those, you know, in the Bible, you go to Matthew, we always find this, and we don't read it. And Adam and begot him, and he begot him, and he begot him, and he begot him. We don't read that, don't it? We say that's too much begotten. And we just buy. Why did God put all these begots in the Bible? All those begots are time span. And if you can work with those begots and begotten sons and daughters, and he begot she, and it's a starting point. Right? Now again, so now using biblical chronology now, historical data, the age of the earth is calculated to be about 6,000 years. 2,000 years from Adam to the flood, from the flood to Christ coming. So let me break it down now. We have the creation, we have some major mile events in our world. The creation of the world, we have the flood, we have Jesus Christ in our day. We believe now that from creation to the flood was 2,000 years. And we can probably show you when the world was created, a little ballpark figure, using those chronologies, right? Now, we believe that from the flood to Jesus is another 2,000 years, right? Because today, we said Christ came 2,000, and we've been saying that for a long time, right? And we believe now that in our day that we are at the end of the 6,000 years. And I'm going to tell you something, friends. I've done the math. This is just my mathematics. I don't believe that we have 100 years left in the 6,000 years. And I'm going to show you. Now, you just think for a moment. 2,300 days, years, from 6,000 give you what? Oh, do you calculate? Is that 3,000 years left in the 6,000, right? And we said Christ came 2,000, 4,000 years ago. So you do the math, we don't have a lot of time left. Friends, I believe from my mathematical study, friends, we have less than 50 years left for the 6,000 to run out. And every year is going down. So I'm telling you, friends, if you haven't gotten it, the Apostle Paul said, now this is not here promoting mediocrity. I believe God wants us to prosper in life, but at what expense? Paul says, for food and raiment, give Jah thanks. Anything else is a blessing.